better siege. So in this game, what happens is Alliance actually drafts a really good pick composition, which I'll talk about a little bit in a minute, especially for the KT Bullets versus White Shield game. But they draft a really good team composition, but they make the mistake of leaving Lucian open for Copenhagen Wolves and instead picking Caitlyn. So what happens is, first, the Elise is pretty much a given. Elise is going to go to whoever gets first pick unless it's banned. And Elise is one of those champions that has really good objective control for Dragon and Baron especially. She can kill them quickly and execute them, and she's one of, if not the best junglers in the current metagame. So then Alliance, I really disagree with this Renekton and Caitlyn pick. I think the Renekton is okay, but consider this is on the previous patch, so this is pre-Shyvana nerf, and they're leaving Shyvana open, which is really not a good decision. Shyvana has a lot of ability to split push quickly, which puts a lot of pressure on the map, and it's hard for Renekton to aggress on her enough early game to really shut her down. And then, of course, they pick the Caitlyn. I like the Caitlyn pick. I think that it's a good pick, but I think if they were going to pick Caitlyn, they needed to ban Lucian, because we'll see Copenhagen Wolves get Lucian, and that becomes very important as we get into the game. So yeah, of course, Copenhagen Wolves grabs Shyvana and Lucian because Alliance left them open, so pretty good by them. Alliance realizing, I think they may have even been baiting the Copenhagen Wolves into picking a heavy siege team composition so that then they could pick this Vi and this Thresh and make a pick composition, but I don't like that decision. I feel like the siege is a lot more reliable in the current metagame, and it definitely hurt them. So then for the last pick, I believe Copenhagen Wolves actually makes a really good decision, and they pick up Kayle and Lulu, which at first seems a little weird. Especially before the LCS had started, Kayle and Lulu weren't that popular. Lulu has been increasing in popularity a little bit, but Kayle really has not. And Copenhagen Wolves kind of brought out this Kayle pick and the Kayle Lulu combo and really showed everyone why it's a strong combination. It's just so hard to engage on. And of course, with Kayle and Lulu, you have so much wave clear. This Copenhagen Wolves team composition is very strong. And Alliance, their last pick is solid. They pick Gragas for, of course, the wave clear from his barrels and the explosive cask, which is very strong for a pick composition. But Copenhagen Wolves responds to this pick composition perfectly with the Kayle and with the Lulu. It is so hard to kill any member of the Copenhagen Wolves, and I really like what they did. So as far as I'm concerned, even if Copenhagen Wolves got the Kayle, if Alliance had denied them the Lucian, Alliance would have really had a chance here because they would have had more control over the minion waves. Lucian just has so much wave clear that there's really not a lot that you can do against him right now. His Q was recently nerfed, which is good, but I still think that he's the strongest AD carry in the game, just because you cannot siege against him. He's definitely up there with Jinx, but I think Lucian is a little bit strongest. So Lucian goes over to Copenhagen Wolves, and that's the beginning of the end for Alliance. Alliance makes a lot of mistakes, but that's the beginning of the end. So let's go ahead and actually skip to a little bit into this game, actually quite a bit into this game. So what's happening right now? Alliance actually has a lead right now. They've managed to create an advantage for themselves. I believe they even got the first dragon. So they're at this point deciding to siege aggressively. Of course, this Shyvana is pushing the top lane, which will give her the option to either flank from behind, which is what she chooses to do, which is what Young Buck chooses to do, the player Young Buck, on Copenhagen Wolves, or she can, Young Buck can push the top tower. So Alliance pushing down this mid lane. They actually made a little bit of a mistake here, and let me back up to show you this mistake. So they make this gank on the bottom lane. And wait, where was it? There was something that happened. Okay. They kill the bottom tower. Now, right now, they have a really pretty big advantage on the map. Shyvana has not pushed up that much yet, and they could put a lot of pressure on the mid lane if they all group mid right now. But instead, they choose to do something else. They choose to recall. So this kind of takes the pressure off. And then, of course, they fail this gank on the bottom. They're not really that important for what I want to talk about. So what happens is they go to the mid lane and they begin to siege. But they do this very late. If they had rotated a lot sooner, I think that they could have made a pretty big play here. But what happens is the Copenhagen Wolves rotates with just a few members, and there's really nothing Alliance can do. If they had come sooner, they could have created some kind of advantage. So at this point, Young Buck does decide to flank from behind, which was, I think, a good decision. And Alliance plays it well. They have a pick composition, so they really should go in on Young Buck. But what they do wrong is they fail to zone out the Copenhagen Wolves. So the Kayle and the Lulu manage to get in there and save Young Buck. And it's kind of a bad situation. If Alliance had controlled this fight a little better, managed to keep the team split up, especially with the Gragas barrel to do that, with the explosive cask, they could have made a pretty big play, made a pick off somewhere, started a split fight. So what happens? Young Buck gets his ultimate right away. Actually, Coutard does a really good job of responding to this. And Young Buck does use his flash. I actually think that he should have saved his flash and used his ultimate instead. But he uses his flash. So, Nif kind of fails everything there. That sucks. But at this point the damage is done because they chose to make this rotation around the back. They didn't control this brush at all. So the Copenhagen Wolves just rotated through here and managed to scare off Alliance. And they didn't play the fight very well, but it was that positional error that really caused problems for them. So when you're sieging, you need to really think about how you want to rotate in order to capitalize on a mistake from your opponent, and the Alliance didn't do it very well. So then let's fast forward to about a minute. The Copenhagen Wolves have now shoved up the mid lane, and they're controlling the minion wave because, of course, they have Kayle and they have Lucian. So while Alliance wants to rotate and take this dragon, they actually rotate pretty early, and they could have waited and controlled these minions, but instead they don't. But of course, this is where having giving Elise over to the other team is kind of a problem, because they don't have the ability to take this dragon as quickly as the Copenhagen Wolves would. So at this point, the Copenhagen Wolves rotates the dragon to make this play here. Now it looks like Coutard is really far out of position, but what actually happens is Coutard is baiting Alliance. So Coutard uses his ult. That was actually a really bad ultimate by Shook. A lot of CC is wasted on Coutard, and we see this several times through the game. They chain their CC while someone has the intervention from Kayle on them, and it doesn't really do anything. So at this point, you have one ultimate wasted from Alliance, so they're already at a disadvantage in this fight. They really should have been able to win this fight, actually. But then Froggen uses this explosive cask, which even if this explosive cask had hit, because Kauthard had not flashed, this still would have been a bad cask because it's only hitting one person. And like I said, Kauthard right now is still full HP, so it's not going to do anything. So at this point, this is Copenhagen Wolves effectively sieging and then using their positional advantage to take control over Baron, because they got to take control over Dragon because they got here first. They had the opportunity to get in a good position, whereas Alliance has to respond to them because Copenhagen Wolves were the ones pushing up the mid lane. So 2 ultimates wasted by Alliance, who is at an advantage and really should be able to win a team fight. And it just kind of goes downhill from there. Tabs actually does a really stupid flash. He gets Young Buck low, but then chooses to flash after him instead of staying safe from the back. So what happens now is, they could have disengaged had Tabs, Froggen, and Wicked leave and push out the lanes while Copenhagen Wolves take this dragon, but now Tabs is dead, and they really can't do anything. So Copenhagen Wolves quickly take the dragon. Which all of that happened because Copenhagen Wolves effectively sieged the mid lane and gained control over the minions. So let's fast forward to 25 minutes, actually, which is right now. And Copenhagen Wolves are shoving this tower because they can, because they got 2 kills. Actually, 3 kills. So that shows, where this Kayle and Lucian combo comes in. Because if you were paying attention, they killed that tower. Let's actually back up. They killed this tower very fast. Where is it? Okay, so 25. This is at almost full health. Let's look at the timer. Right now they start hitting it at about 17:35. At 17:45, the tower is already dead. 2, 1, 17:45. The tower is already dead. It took them less than 10 seconds to kill the entire tower. Which is, giving that Lucian away is what allows them to do that. Even disregarding the Kayle pick, which was really good. This Lucian pick gave them that tower. So let's, actually, let me take a 30-second break and drink some water. Fill up my water bottle and drink some water. So enjoy some music from Portal 2. Okay, so let's getting back into this, and let's just queue up everything, because why not? Getting back into this, so let's look at the state of the game right now. Alliance has entirely lost their advantage. It's they're now 2k gold down, whereas they had a lead before the siege in mid, which rotated to dragon and then back to mid. That they began with a lead. So this is very bad for them because they have a team composition which really needs to be ahead in order to control the game. As long as they're ahead, the Copenhagen Wolves is going to really have to respond to Alliance's plays. and they won't be able to control the map with all their wave clear like they'd like to here. But with an advantage, the Copenhagen Wolves are able to quickly push the map, control minion waves very effectively, and it's a huge advantage for them with this Kayle, with this Lucian, and with even Lulu and Elise.